1, 4, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. What he said. Yo, people, welcome to District G and Chill special episode with Mike. Guys, okay, so I want you to introduce yourself for the people that don't know.
So I'm Kane Trench. I'm one of the best Tekken players in the UK. And I'm looking to kill everyone. just saying.
I'm the Phantom.
The Phantom.
I'm the best raid in Europe. And despite what people say about Tishimon, I remind you that Tishimon is Japanese. So yeah, I'm looking forward to become a top player.
Yeah.
Everyone knows me already, innit? It's fine.
For those who don't know.
It's fine. If you lot don't know, it's your boy, team captain of District G. It's your boy Strider.
Yeah. So guys, today we're going to be talking about the Tekken World Tour. Bow! We're ready, boys. We're ready, yeah.
Round
Tekken
2.
World Tour. So before we talk about that, let's talk about what's happened so far this year. So let's start with this 3-on-3.
Yeah, so we had a 3-on-3 tournament at Elf, and unfortunately District G, like we actually had two teams on the day. We had District G Alpha and District G Omega. District G Alpha was comprised of me, our own C Crizzle, and King J as well. I'm sure a lot of you know who he is. And Omega had our own team captain Strider, along I believe it was Tarek.
And someone who hasn't been that active in the Tekken community, Crown Clown.
Can we big up Tarek, Crown Clown, and Big J for joining our team? Yeah? Woo! Big up to those boys out there. Great.
So how it went is like, it was a new experience for me at least. Like I was never used to like first one team formats. And unfortunately for District G, it kind of turned sour along the way because Alpha ended up losing along the way. And Alpha and Omega unfortunately went against each other, and only one team could come out on top, unfortunately, which was Omega, which is, you know, I'm not surprised it's Omega, innit? Omega's better than Alpha.
Straight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and cause team beef, but how did it feel when you had to wipe out, I think you'd wipe out Kane
and Crizzle.
How did it feel?
So, do you know what? Like, the situation was, like, I was, like, when the tournament started, the person who was originally supposed to join us sort of cancelled last minute. And lucky enough, Crown Clown was with me at the time. So, on the way, like, the whole way through the tournament, we were sort of, to an extent, we were kind of underdogs. And when we got to the point where we would be versing the Alpha team, originally the order was always Crown Clown, me, and then Tarek. And then this one time I was like, look, these two have not had experience playing against Crizzle and Kane, so I need to go last. And then, yeah, I mean, the rest you can see on YouTube and all of that. Shout out to Cobra Commander, proper
Cobra, shout out, Cobra Commander.
But yeah, I just went in thinking, do you know what? Look, although you know we're all a team, the Omega team have proper clawed and we proper grinded to get to this point. So I'm not going to be the one that's going to take the L for the team. So I gave an L to the Alpha team instead.
So were we set up by then? Were we set up?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally set up.
I mean, to be honest, like the team that I know like my team Alpha originally lost to, they were a fairly strong team as well. And I mean, the characters as well, like Geese is pretty crazy in a first to one. And I mean, I'll give no excuses. I'll take my loss there and then. But just so you know, like next team tournament, which is coming up fairly soon, I might add, we'll get you back. Don't worry.
Bang. Know that.
because this time I'm going to be going on the front lines. I ain't going to sit back.
So what would you say? Because it's so difficult, and you won. Your team won.
I was going to say.
Yeah, let's big up
the cleaners.
That one. The cleaners. Let's big up the cleaners. They won.
You actually forgot who won that song.
What annoys me is when we made it to top 8, I ended up we played your team, and what was really frustrating was when I was playing you, I thought to myself, if I can beat you, we can beat the rest of the team.
The other team didn't play half the tournament.
No, they didn't.
was taking everyone out by himself.
What really annoyed me was I think it was final round, and you had that much health, and I had a bit more health, and then I messed up, and then you just took me out, and I was so frustrated.
That's what you call coldness.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But it was so fun. It could have ended differently. The whole thing could have ended differently if it wasn't for me.
Think about it. The Koreans are also getting the picture in that way. In the span of one match, it was Tekken Crash, so these kind of tournaments. In the span of one match, they had to figure out how the opponent, the flow chart, actual style of the opponent, and adapt to it. It was not easy, but it's something that, according to the level of the 3v3 tournament, I kind of did, and it worked out pretty good.
Because we haven't had a team tournament for so long since Snake Pit. And you know, when we were talking with the two teams, I was talking to the two teams who were trying to say who was going to go first, second, and third. What do you lot think is the best option? Because I used to think that maybe going last, the strongest person going last would probably be the best thing. But how?
Well, with the Elf tournament, it was quite interesting because the order up until top 8, the order was fixed, which meant, look, you got to pick who goes first, second, third, and it's staying like that through the whole tournament. So that's quite difficult because, for example, and this is just an example, if I had more experience at playing Kane, so I had the better chance of beating Kane, but I had no experience with beating Crizzle, but Tarek did. We could, in theory, adjust our team to match theirs. But we couldn't do that. So the only viable option was to play the strongest last. But the drawback with that, and I'm sure Kane can relate to this, is if you play the strongest last, you're effectively weakening yourself because you're not playing.
Yeah, that's true. Because what it was, like, when we started out, so my team had a match against another team. I believe Jay and Crizzle went out. I'm not sure if they went out to the same player. So I think I had to OCV the entire team, and that was only like the beginning of the entire tournament.
Almost the first or second game, wasn't it?
I think it was our first game. So I OCV'd them. And then from that point onwards, it was just either Jay or Crizzle dealing with the rest of the other teams. And then by the time we reached top 8, again, I went last for both the matches that we ended up losing. And, you know, it affects you because when you're not playing games, you can't get warmed up quick enough. You're not in that, like, attitude, so to speak. So that's why, you know, like, I just wasn't good there and then for the later part of the tournament.
So, next up, it was our war.
Yeah.
The Pro League final.
The climax, yeah.
How did you lot think about that tournament?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, I found it even more cool that we even had some internationals coming down, some well-known internationals. I mean, we had Italy's own Tishimon, who's like officially, well, the best in Europe, along with Super Akuma, who is France's best player as well, and Fergus as well. Let's not forget him. So you technically, in that tournament, you had 4 out of the 5 Tekken World Tour finalists from Europe. So you know that deserves a big up, to be honest.
So you and Phantom both got to the actual Pro League itself. How was that? Because both of you as well did so well because you had to go through, you know, the crazy double eliminator. Did you think that it got you ready for that tournament because you're so hot, or did you feel tired and like, oh my god, we got to go through this now?
You mean in the final league?
Yeah, in the final league, yeah.
Matches were depending on small momentum. Also, well, you need to have some luck and some points. I don't know if the actual stations were have some luck as well, but that might be just me. Well, you know how I am. And in the end, because what I did there was beating the only 2 guys that went actually in the final. They were Super Akuma and Arsene. Now I have a positive head-to-head with Super Akuma of 2-0. But the thing might be about me still not able to harness the tension. As Stride always says, I need to go in the phantom mode. The problem is...
There's two modes. If you get the phantom mode, you might as well just go.
What's the two modes? Phantom and then the phantom.
It's like Dr. Banner and Hulk. You need to harness that. And the thing is, because when I knew I was going to be certainly out, by math, I was playing Asim, just like the Asim was my final match, and I was just playing like him, like this. And I won. So easy. I mean, not easy, but it was a totally different story.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about him. I didn't expect him to
I can agree on the momentum thing. I mean, at first it was a bit of a shaky start because I mean, the first game was against Asim, who's obviously one of the strongest in the UK. He barely walked away with a 2-1 victory there, and then from that point on, it was just me losing. I think I lost like 4 games in a row, and only then, once I hit my last 3 games, I actually won 3 in a row. So, like, I don't know, I think the momentum probably picked up way too late. I mean, by that point, I was hoping, by way of math, that I would somehow be able to scrape 4th, but there were so many factors depending on it, and it just didn't work out in the end.
Do you think that if you, because I think obviously in War 2, you were away with playing
I was playing FDJ, yeah.
Do you feel that if you had qualified and become a seed for the Pro League, it would have been better for you? Or do you think that the double eliminator helped with your focus?
I'm not particularly sure. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to say anything like, oh, I definitely would have qualified at War 2 or anything like, because I mean, you never know what could happen.
Yes, you are saying that.
You never know what can happen. I mean, who are the 2 people that qualified from the second one?
It was
Haroon and Bonus.
Oh, Bonus, yeah. Bonus.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, like, during the actual Pro League stage, I beat Haroon but lost to Bonus Gym, but, there's so many factors riding on this, so, like, I don't know if I would have qualified at War 2 to begin with. Anything can happen.
And what were your favourite moments or toughest matches?
Well, my toughest matches, I mean, like, my matches with Asim are always good. They're usually always, like, down to the wire whenever we're both playing on a serious level. I mean, he could either scrape a win, I could either scrape a win. And then, of course, you've got me versus Super Kumar, who, unfortunately, I have a sad history of losing games constantly to, but over time I am improving versus him. And me versus Tishimon, it's kind of same as Asim, really. It's, like, always, like, pretty close between us. I mean, ever since I beat him at versus fighting during the last year's Tekken World Tour, he's been pretty much, like, back with a vengeance. So, I just have to kind of improve my level even more.
And then there's the fact I can never stomach first to 2. Sorry.
Everyone can handle different formats, man. I mean, sometimes first to 3 is the difference between winning and losing, because there'll be them moments where someone could be down 2 sets, like, easily, and then somehow they just work their way back 3 games straight, and then boom.
So do you think that if most tournaments were, say, first to 3 instead of first to 2, some of the top people wouldn't be at the top anymore?
It really just depends. Like, as I said before, anything can happen. Like, some players probably just ride on that comeback factor. But, like, when in a first to 2 environment, you lose 1 game, you're immediately, like, on the back foot and starting to fear for your life, because you realise if you lose another, you're going to go into losers/elimination. So, it's like first to 3, you have a little bit more confidence. Like, oh, I lost this first set, but it's no problem. I still have, like, a cushion to fall back on.
It's the same as you will say, putting 2 rounds instead of 3.
Yeah. And but obviously the thing is about, like, while some people prefer some formats to others, like, say, prefer first to 3 to first to 2, there's also the matter of, like, length, because you've got to consider how long tournaments last, and you've got to make sure everybody gets home. So sometimes first to 3 is usually kept until, I think, maybe top 8, or even only until the winners, losers, and grand finals.
But you and Jay experienced that with proper organization.
Yeah, we went to a tournament in Naples. Italy, yeah, Naples.
You can run, because that's how we always work in Italy, and the whole of Europe ever since Tag 1 or I don't know, Tekken 5. Every tournament can be run on round robin, first to 2, and then first to 3 all the way to the final. We used to set finals
in Italy.
We used to set finals and grand finals to first to 5 at that time, but there was no losers bracket yet.
Right. Yeah.
That was. But in Naples, we demonstrated all Europe clearly with a proper organization, because Naples had not just one, but a combination of a team of the best organizers in Italy. Organizers, sorry. and they managed to run the whole event until what was half 11.
Like exact time they finished, I think it was 11 something. I think 11:55. Like they were organised from start to finish, and there were even some problems along the way. Like some screens went off and such, but they fixed it like in a very short amount of time.
And
they were prepared for it.
And they also streamed some of the matches which were not supposed to stream, like some losers matches, kind of. But yeah, we demonstrated that it can be done. You just need to avoid like problems. Most of the tournaments have delays due to pool and brackets. So when they're sorting out the players for the brackets, and you need to avoid these kind of problems. And by then you can run every tournament smoothly.
So, taking it back to the UK, because I know Kane obviously you mentioned Tishamon, Super Akuma, Fergus. Who would you say surprised you UK-wise in the War Tournament or in the 3-on-3?
So the player that actually surprised me the most was actually Elf's very own Gosane, who, in my personal opinion, I think is the strongest one they have in the lineup. Because I remember back when I played him as far back as Tag 2, where like both our levels at the time were kind of whatever. But seeing him now in this game, like I've been seeing how much he's improving, and he's actually proving to be a proper threat. We actually had sets recently at Red Bull's own gaming sphere. Shout out to Red Bull.
Shout out to Red Bull, everyone.
He actually came up to me and said, can I have sets with your Yoshi? I was like, yeah, cool. And we were playing, and I could see in the matches we had how threatening he could be. Like his whiff punishment and other fundamentals like that. It's just like so on point. So I feel like it's going to be real interesting when we play in tournament. We might even play in tournament today because there's a tournament actually going on today at Elf Tekken Fighter Z.
Tekken Fighter Z, shout out Tekken Fighter Z and the Elf boys. We are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, like go saying that District G War 3 surprised a lot of people when he actually went up against Super Akuma. And he actually put Super Akuma into losers. I mean, despite the fact that Super Akuma still made it to the Pro League, the fact that he was able to beat Super Akuma shows how capable like this new and up-and-coming talent from UK really is. And Gosane's a shining example of that, I feel like.
Phantom, anyone UK that surprised you? Oh my god, insult everyone in the UK.
Surprise!
If they're not District G, they're not good enough.
This is the coldness he's talking about.
You know, there was some sort of settling rivalry between me and Gosane. He was settling because he was kind of peaking before,
You slapped him down.
I just have to re-establish the natural order.
As he says.
Yeah.
Stripe? Anyone that's surprising you out there? I'm liking Just So You Know. I think he's got a bit of ability there, Just So You Know.
Yeah.
I only remember playing the guy online, so I can't say much on that now.
Ice Blue.
What for the
Ice Blue.
the two tournaments?
Just in general, the UK is up and coming.
Do you know what? In the UK, the only person that comes to mind, because I've been around for a while now.
Yeah.
The only person that really comes to mind is Haroon, because I knew, and like everyone who's played Haroon now and stuff like that knows how he's good and know.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We know Haroon's established now. He can't lie anymore. We've got the top 8.
Yeah, the thing is, like I remember seeing Haroon for the first time. This was during like Tekken Force days and when Truckadero was around, and I remember playing him, and he was garbage. And then like he just like out of nowhere, like it just shows the level of commitment. He's a brilliant. He can easily. Obviously, he's got work and stuff like that, which he's got his priorities straight.
Yeah.
But if he really committed to Tekken, as much as like some of the higher ups, he'd literally be arguably one of the best in Europe.
But what about the other up and coming? Because like Kurt's just said, Ice Blue. Just So You Know.
Do you know what? The one that keeps coming back to me is Gosane, like Phantom said. Like, he, with the War Tournament, it speaks for itself. Super Akuma, you can't really stick your nose up at him.
Yeah.
He is good.
Big.
And I know he had a lot of UK support, but win's a win. And he proved to himself and to people around that he's not one to be messed with, and he can fight with the best of us.
Do you think that the guys that we've mentioned, the up and coming guys, do they have to be like top in Europe? Do they have to travel in Europe, or are there enough of, say, us going to Europe already and coming back and playing them? Would that be strong enough to take them up a level in itself?
Well, whenever you travel, whenever you go to tournaments internationally, you get a lot of exposure to how other countries play Tekken. So I think, for an example would be Ghost could be very good in the UK, but could be rubbish in Italy. But the only way he can find that out is if he goes to Italy.
Right. Okay.
So
that's a speech that I did as soon as I arrived in UK. Not a few months later, when I started rooting in the local community, because I remember quite a few people, Jay included, were saying, "Oh, we're strong. We don't need to we're strong on our own. We don't need to travel around to demonstrate." But I told them, you feel like you're strong here, staying at home, but you need to travel around to actually see the truth, how it is, and that there are players in UK, Elemental Deity, Eddie, aka Dragonfly.
Yeah,
he's a good one. He is very good. He came from online.
And he's UK, is he?
He's UK.
He's based in Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are just staying in the north. Now, Didi, for the first time, is coming to Rome. Because I learned this studying in Naples. So they're just staying there, but nobody knows how can they actually perform if they travel abroad.
Okay, so
I guess it's time to find out.
We, took District G down to Italy, Naples, Phantoms home. How was it then? So you've travelled anyway, but how was it compared to a war tournament?
So, I mean, I've always considered, obviously, Italy are one of the strongest communities in Europe, if not the strongest for a reason. I mean, obviously, the organisation, the events being one reason, and the amount of players that they have, there's just so many strong players they have there. Tishimon, Sambo, Mitra Storm, too many to count. And not to mention, they're always having the usual... Yeah. Sorry, you're here, man. That's fine. And they're always having consistent sessions and making sure they're strong on the day. So that's how whenever you're going to be travelling to an Italian tournament, you better be prepared for bloodshed, because it's not easy at all. And the upcoming Tekken World Tour event in Italy is going to be bloodshed, because not only are you going to have all the strongest Italian guys, but you're going to have everyone else that's iconic from Europe as well. So.
Okay, so Tekken World Tour. Now let me ask you the question: does this now almost put Tekken on par with Street Fighter, or is it finally arrived?
No.
Why?
I take as example every time the numbers from the Evo.
Okay.
Street Fighter are beyond, I don't know how many thousands are beyond and Tekken is basically they're like Street Fighter and Tekken. They're always like this. Yeah.
Still,
Smash Bros is always as always even higher.
Because of the name of the game.
The
Street
thing-
Fighter's
but
been
it-
around for ages.
Not even just that, but
It's the mechanic itself.
I mean, even then, as popular as Tekken is, obviously the game itself is also very complex compared to most fighters. There's so many variables and factors that you need to know about the game. It can put some people off. That's why it doesn't have as much of a casual audience and competitive as much as Street Fighter does. Because Street Fighter's always had that accessibility and ease to play as opposed to Tekken.
right.
I think the fact that helped Tekken now in Tekken 7 to gain more popularity is
They've adopted some mechanics from 2D, like
rage arts
supers.
and supers and stuff. Not to
They've
mention,
made it slightly simpler. They made it easier.
that's what I learned from a Street Fighter player who actually said Street Fighter has never been the same since Street Fighter 5, when they added the Ultra, they catch the opponent and doing damage on the video on a cinematic way, and so I talked about the player and said Tekken Street Fighter has never been the same since that time.
So will Tekken 7 ever catch Street Fighter in terms of Evo and number of participants?
Well, I mean, Street Fighter's always been the OG fighting game out there. I mean, it was Evo was basically a Street Fighter tournament only originally, and eventually it blew up to accommodate so many different fighting games around the world. So, I mean, Street Fighter's just always going to have that #1 golden boy spot in a place like Evo.
And I forgot to mention, it's also helping the fact that they put in DLC characters like Akuma and Geese. So
It's extending the health of the game,
especially the recent one released, Noctis Lucis Kylum from Final Fantasy 15. I feel like he's a character that is definitely designed for people just getting into the game, whether they're fans of Final Fantasy or not, because like his moves are so easy. Like he's overall very accessible compared to a lot of the cast, where they have their own very advanced and complex mechanics.
I don't think it has the same hype impact that Geese had.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like, because Geese, he's like he's an iconic fighting game character slash villain. He's from Fatal Fury.
Right.
It's a very, very old fighting game, and like he's part of King of Fighters nowadays from SNK. But the reason why he got more hype is because like he's known in the fighting game community. Like, Noctis didn't get as much hype there because he's from something else entirely.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's also. I spoke with some Final Fantasy fan base guys, friends of mine, and they told me, despite Noctis looks cool and all, but unlike Akuma and Geese, with their like proper traditional like martial art characters, Noctis with a sword and the apparel as well.
Well, I mean, like if you take out the weapons, like he would kind of fix. I mean, nowadays Tekken takes sort of like that kind of anime kind of approach. I mean, his design by Tekken standards actually kind of looks normal.
There must be Bandai influence.
So, Rome. This is the start really for many, because I know they had the first European challenge. Was it in Kuwait?
It was in Kuwait, yeah, and I believe only Super Akuma in terms of known European players went to that one.
And how did they get on?
He actually won the tournament, but it wasn't free. So it just goes to show that even in these unknown parts of Europe where the tournaments are going on, they have strong players out there, man. It's just obviously not everyone has the privilege to travel.
So in this Rome tournament, who are the big killers that we need to watch out for?
There's too many. So there's too many to count. I mean, like Phantom obviously knows like all the Italian killers.
Yeah, but they don't scare me. Yeah, I'm more scared of myself about Ferguson.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't to count Italy, since we know what to expect there, so obviously you got Fergus, Super Akuma, and I believe Adnanish is going as well. And Kira from Switzerland, who's an Elisa player, one that only Elisa players in Europe, mind.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's really stacked. This is looking like it's going to be crazy. I mean, usually when it comes to the first event in a continent, you can expect a lot of people going. I mean, I remember last year, Tatakai Holland, they had so many entrants, and it was like,
who won that one last year? Remind me.
So I mean, like, while Kuwait happened first, officially, like, in terms of ease of travel, like, Rome is the one that everyone's going to be attending to get that first heap of points, if possible. So, yeah, it's going to be an intense tournament, I feel.
Yeah, because you mentioned a lot of European players, but are the Japanese, South Korean, Americans going to be there?
That's the thing, because while every event in this year's Tekken World Tour has a prize pool now, you have to think about it like this, because obviously a lot of players like JDCR from Korea and that, they're all like sponsored, and they pay a lot of money to get people to travel to different continents. The thing about the Challenger events is like their prize pools aren't as massive as say the Master events.
Yeah.
So like for Challenger, if you get first place, you'd be winning around like I think it was $500, and if you compare that to how much money could potentially be spent on them even getting to the continent in the first place, it doesn't really seem profitable. So I mean, like it's up to them if they want to attend the Challengers, but I feel like the competition from Asia as well as America would only really be having their eye on the big boy tournaments with the big prizes.
Okay, guys, we're back with Chryso! And Bonus Jin! Bonus, so this Pro League, top 4, how was it for you? How did you feel? Because you were the highest District G member in that tournament. How was it for you?
Good.
Yeah?
Very good. Yeah, I didn't expect it, to be honest, but I'm pretty happy what I've done. Yeah, I didn't feel with so many good players. I was thinking, okay, and you know, top 8 was just you play against all the best players qualified. So, but the things went good.
Because the arts came before. How was it for you? Because you're seeded going straight into the top 8. Would you have rather had? Well, no one's going to want to have to do a double elimination if they don't have to do it. But do you feel that people like Kane and Phantom were possibly more warm than you because you could play casuals, but they're playing competitively? You can't really compare playing casually and then competitively during the tournament. So do you feel that you weren't warm enough, or did you feel you were at your best?
No, I did my best. I definitely did my best. Actually, yeah, when you play casuals, I think I play much better, more relaxed. I still have this problem with me, this tension all the time.
Yeah, we actually had casuals
a
before,
lot.
so we helped each other like get warmed up and ready for the tournament. So yeah.
And how did you feel having to play Azim in? Because you played Azim in the semis, was it?
Yeah.
How was that for you? Because I know he had a crazy old final with him in War 2. How was it like playing against him the second time? Where do you think you went wrong this time in the semis against him?
Well, on the first time, because we played twice,
yeah,
I beat him. But the thing is, with Asimi, he plays a lot of characters, and that's what makes him really good against people. He knows that he can find a specific character which is worst for you, and he uses it at the perfect time.
So what characters did he use in the actual Pro League itself?
So he used firstly Kazumi and Katarina, and when he lost the first in the groups, then he switched it to Josie, and he beat me 3-0. Yeah, but I got a lesson now from Josie. So let's see who will be. For example, he never played against me, Dragunov.
Yeah.
Because we played a lot of online. Last time I beat him like 8-0 when he was playing Dragunov. So
8-0 online?
Yeah, so he knows what characters he can use against people. That's the. I'm really not very impressed with his performance or the way he plays. Like, you can't see something which are okay. Wow, I've never seen this. But that's the thing. He uses a lot of characters, and that's his strongest side, I would say.
And Tekken World Tour. What events will you be going to?
I will try to get in the whole master events, because I think because of my job, and it's really difficult for me to get to all these events, but that's why I'll try to get to the whole master events. So I think if you're lucky enough, because let's be honest, you need some kind of luck in all these competitions, because when they're like 100, 200 people, you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna be top 8 or whatsoever. You can't do that. So I think if I'm lucky enough, and because of the masters and the points you get there, so if I'm lucky to get high enough, then that will be my chance to do something.
Kane's the man with the maths. Would going to all the masters, would that get you through?
Well, I mean, yeah, the Masters, after all, are like the big boy events with the big points and the money. I mean, winning a Master event itself, like, if you even win one of them, you might even already be good to be qualified, because if you remember the first event, I believe was one in America, I forget the name, sorry, but a bunch of Koreans actually went there. Nee was the one who won it, and he's landed with like 300 points, and going to a few more events, like I think he's hit the 400 mark now, and that's already a huge like amount. He's still first place on the leaderboard, and we are still in the early season. But I mean, when you look at how the points were last year when it came to the regional leaderboards, like, everyone assumed, like when the regional came about, Super Kuma was the only one that was good, just purely because of his points amount. So I mean, if you win a Masters, like, you're more or less, you're probably going to be good for the entire tour. That's how important they are.
For example, the last one, you remember, like last year when a Danish had no points.
Yeah, because the thing about the regional, they had like a huge amount of points, and like 2 players who weren't even actually anywhere near the top 5 just actually made, I believe it was the winners final, which was Adnanish from Denmark and Mitra Storm from Italy, and both of them hardly had any points. And Adnanish actually ended up taking the regional, so he bumped himself up all the way to, I think it was 2nd place. So that's how important it is. And the thing is, with this year, the regional points, like the amount of points you get from regional, they've now become this year's points for the master events. And in turn, the challenger event points are now the original master event points. So now there's plenty more points to go around for players to gain. So, I mean, all the events are important. It's just masters, they're the ones that make the biggest impact, like always.
Chris, checking your biceps over there. They're cool.
I'm good. I'm slacking.
So, UK players, is there anyone that you think could sneak into this top 20 at the end?
UK Pacific. I think Haroon, because Haroon took me out at the number District G2.
Yeah.
He did.
Bonus is not
it was fairly even, but he still took me out.
You got something to say about that?
Because I'm not gonna lie, I actually went in underestimating Haroon because in the part. Now this is the thing. In tournaments, I've been to many tournaments with Haroon, but I've never played him.
Really?
We've never met in tournament.
Okay.
Apart, I think that was probably the second time we've met in the tournament.
Okay.
And played.
Yeah.
So, and every time I've seen his play style, I've never been like, wow, I've always been, oh, he's alright. But, so I went in all normal and stuff, but he took me out.
That was like semi-final, wasn't it?
So, yeah, I think he could be quite good. I think this guy over here will probably, get there. Asim.
Yeah.
I think... Phantom, yes. Phantom. Sorry.
Yeah.
The is important. Cool. Phantom. The Phantom. The Phantom.
Hard to get used to, innit?
This is beef for the minute.
Say no one. I think Go-Sane maybe.
Yeah, let's talk about Go-Sane because I know he got very lucky against you in the in District G War in a little exhibition match.
Law mirror match.
Yeah, we let him win that one. We're gonna do it again, Gozen. We're gonna do it again. So Gozen, let's talk about Gozen. Yeah. So we let him beat you at that at the Pro League. Is he really as good as people are saying? Because not only did he win that lucky exhibition match, he was also, I'm not going to say lucky because he played very well against Super Akuma. Is he the next best thing?
Go-Sane has potential, yes. When I did see his fight versus Akuma, everyone was surprised that it was actually a highlight of the tournament.
Yeah.
And because everyone's eyes was on
I
that
think
thing.
the Super Akuma was the most surprised person.
Who are you?
But our exhibition match. First of all, I had a feeling Go-Sane was gonna win anyway because I had been out of practice and I just thought, all right, whatever, just do it. I mean, he's a good player. He is, but. I think that was Go-Sane's day. I think because overall, I think that was his time to shine. And I'm not gonna lie, and he did pull up a good fight. I mean, it was pretty much one-rounded.
Yeah.
It went like I didn't get no thing. He did get a couple of because I did go for a couple of punishes, but for some reason they didn't work. And I have this thing where I call that reflexes for me.
Yeah.
And I was just off. I'm just trying to build it back on, so that's why I'm not in the scene much.
Yeah, because you're taking a little siesta at the moment.
I'm just going to focus on my
hiatus.
acting and stuff, I just hadn't been out of practice.
Yeah.
That's my excuse, but for him, I know he's a good player.
Yeah.
But
you think if he was to travel to a lot of these European events,
I think he should go a lot more, But
that's the thing about that, because he did go to the FDJ tournament, the last chance qualifier, and he actually put on a pretty decent showing before sadly getting eliminated before he could actually qualify. So I definitely think the more he travels, the more he'll get overall experience, be recognised, and he can actually really deal some damage to Europe, I feel.
Yeah, so he does have potential, but I think that was his time to shine, but we'll see. There'll be pay, but it's always...
We're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Go-Sane, we're going to do it again. First to 5. When Crizzle's ready, mate. In Crizzle's time. How about that?
whenever that'll be.
Yeah. When he's ready.
Soon.
So Kane, what we did, what's our next up tournament? Elf today.
So of course we have the Elf tournament today, but further on from that, well, of course, as we were mentioning previously, Tekken World Tour Challenger event in Rome. It's going to be the first official tournament for many European players, so it's going to be an absolute bloodbath, and hopefully you'll see me in the top 8 or something.
Whoa! Yeah.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
Chris, what's next for you?
I am taking a slight backseat. I'm still in the scene, like just sneaking. I'm a ninja. No pun intended.
Except you're not a ninja.
There's no shot. I haven't got my machine today because this is a family thing. No shots here, yeah.
But I'm still gonna go to tournaments here and there. But, I'm
Any
taking
specific one?
My next big one is probably Birmingham, and then we might go Leeds, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And a few local tournaments as well. But that's it. Maybe one other world tour. We'll see.
You a ninja, there is no way.
Love it. Tekken 5 reference.
It's a bit creepy.
I just want to reply to that. This coming from a wannabe ninja.
Which is him.
Calls down.
Hey, no. My Raven is decent. Don't go there. My Raven's decent.
People just playing sneeze like moves.
Oh, they're beefing.
Like a standstill and then move. Two.
Haters, whatever.
Oh, it could be the Phantom versus Crizzle.
Raven Mirror.
Raven Mirror.
No,
Raven Mirror.
No. His Raven is hands down better than mine.
All right.
Admitting defeat.
But I would. It wouldn't be a straight wash out. But I think he would come.
We got to do it then. We got to do it first and 5. Mirror match. Raven versus Raven.
All right, we'll see.
You should go to this Elf tournament tonight.
Yeah, I'll go with Phantom and Kane.
What are you promising? Promise them where you're going to finish now. The camera's there. Promise them top 4. Win the thing.
Maybe, I'll try.
Well, let me make a promise. District G will win the Elf tournament today. I'm going to hear it first. But the funny thing is, you're not going to hear it first because when it comes out, that tournament will be done. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. Can we give it up for Kane one more time?
Yeah.
Can we give it up to Crizzle one more time? Bonus Jim one more time. Captain Strider over there one more time. And lastly, the Phantom. One more time.
Wait, Phantom. Close it out with the iconic. Go on. The iconic.
Go on the camera.
The quote. The one quote. Say it.
Which one? Ring, yo, to, sha, kai, ji, ritz, zai, zen.
What he said.
Last but not least.
Last but not least, I'll see you in hell.
Snap us, Sage. Snap us.